So it's Southampton in the playoffs for Middlesbrough, but while the Saints might be the favourites going into that clash, Middlesbrough will be quietly confident that they might be able to cause an upset. Middlesbrough finished fifth in the Championship table, meaning that we're going to play Southampton at home first, playing on Saturday lunchtime at 12:30 at the Riverside Stadium, before heading down to the South Coast for the second leg on Tuesday evening. Now that match is going to be a really, really tense occasion. I think going down to Southampton in the second leg, the deciding leg, is going to be a really nerve-wracking thing for Middlesbrough. I think it's always an advantage when you are playing a side who are playing at home. So for Middlesbrough, of course, they would have wanted to, had they not been promoted automatically, we would have been hoping to finish third or fourth in the table to get that deciding leg at the Riverside Stadium. But it might actually prove to be a blessing in disguise for Middlesbrough doing it this way around. So as I said, Middlesbrough are playing at home this weekend. We are in a position where we're going into this game as probable underdogs. Yes, we finished underneath Southampton in the table. Southampton, a side who had just suffered relegation from the Premier League, a wealth of finances behind them, the squad that they've got, the depth that they've got on the bench, a lot of reasons for why Southampton are the favourites going into this one, not to mention the stunning run of form that they've enjoyed in the second half of the season, coming from absolutely nowhere. I mean, you look when Middlesbrough faced them last time at home, when we beat them 4-0 at the Riverside Stadium, and the state that Southampton were in. But since then, Southampton have really kicked on, looked like one of the best teams in the Championship. And you got to say that had the season gone on for another 4 or 5 games, you would not have bet against them getting into the top 2 by the end of the campaign. But they're going to be coming into the playoffs, as are Middlesbrough. And for Southampton, it could be a bit of a disappointment for them. They had such a siege mentality as they were bursting through the ranks in the Championship table, searching towards the top 2, that it might be a little bit of a disappointment, a bit of an anticlimax that they are going into the playoffs. Whereas for Middlesbrough, I do think that the expectations are slightly different, because I think myself and a lot of Middlesbrough fans probably came to terms with the fact that we were going to be in the playoffs probably about a month ago, to be fair. I know that we were very much still in the automatic promotion race, but we were kind of on the periphery of it. We were never a side who were likely to be getting into the top 2, particularly as we went into the last couple of weeks of the season. I know that we were included in the so-called drama of the final day at Wrexham, because we did still have a chance of getting into the top 2, but it was always a bit of a long shot. So I think for a lot of Middlesbrough supporters, the fact that we didn't get into the top 2 was no real disappointment come the last day of the season. I think a lot of people were very, very accepting of the fact that we were going into the playoffs, and so the fact that we did get a 2-2 draw in the last day of the season, it might not have been the best performance, but it did continue that unbeaten run, and it does mean that for Middlesbrough, we do go into these 2 games with a bit of confidence between us as well. Now, what Middlesbrough have struggled with over the last few weeks, maybe not the last few weeks, but previous to that, the run of form which had seen us drop out of automatic promotion contention, was the inability to see off games. Pretty much playing against a side who would have a low block, typically at home, sides who would set up to defend. Middlesbrough will create a shed load of chances, have lots of opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net, but just fail to do so, ultimately being dealt a late sucker punch. See Charlton, Oxford, Bristol City, whoever it sort of is, a number of clubs who did a number on us. But I think so when you were looking at the playoff picture, you were looking at the sides who could potentially face us. You were looking at the teams that could pose the biggest threat to us in terms of our own Achilles heel. Now, when you look at the sides who are in the playoffs, you were looking at Millwall, a side who also did a number on us at the Riverside Stadium, and you were thinking, God, if we have to play them over 2 legs, if it's going to be cagey and it's going to be tense, is this exactly the sort of tie that Middlesbrough would be dreading going into a tight game where Middlesbrough are going to have loads of opportunities against a stubborn defence who are going to be wily and try and catch you on the counter-attack? That's exactly what Alex Neil's side would have done. But that's why, coming up against Southampton, it may actually be a blessing in disguise coming up against a team like that. Now, there's no doubting Southampton's quality is incredible. Compared to the other sides in the playoffs, their attacking talent is second to none. For me, they're probably the strongest side in the playoffs. So we have, on one hand, got the most difficult tie that we could have had in the other playoffs, particularly playing the second leg away from home. But it could be a match that plays into Middlesbrough's hands, because what we have seen is that Middlesbrough love it when we go toe-to-toe with a side who will come out and play against us. Middlesbrough like to play on the front foot, as we all know, under Kim Hellberg. It's all about passing, it's all about movement, it's all about creating opportunities. That has never been the problem for Middlesbrough. It's been at the other end, really. It's been it's been the sort of the problem has been creating these chances and putting the ball in the back of the net, but it's never been about creating opportunities. And I think coming up against a side like Southampton, a side who are equally attacking, a side who like to push forward, who will like to score goals, who will be a goal threat against Middlesbrough, it could be the perfect tonic for Middlesbrough over these two legs. Now, I'm not expecting a cagey two-legged affair against Southampton. I don't think this is going to be a tie that's decided by a one-goal margin. See Coventry a couple of seasons ago, and that match where Gustavo Harmer's goal was the deciding moment, a 1-0 aggregate win for Coventry that saw them head off to the playoff final, and Middlesbrough sat licking our wounds as we watched them celebrate in the southeast corner. It was that was a disappointing night. That was a cagey match which didn't play into Middlesbrough's hands at all. A really frustrating one. I don't think this is going to be like that for me. I would not be surprised if this had loads of goals in it. I think Middlesbrough will come out. They will try and attack. We will take the game to Southampton at the Riverside Stadium. We will have our opportunities to score goals, and I think with our attacking players now coming into a bit of form, with Tommy Conway, David Strelec, Morgan Whittaker, all finding the back of the net, we're going into these matches in a really good place with real optimism, with real hope, with real confidence that we can find the back of the net, and I do think we'll be able to do that. I think Southampton will do the same. They're going to be very, very confident. Finn Azaz has looked absolutely brilliant over the last few weeks. They're other attacking players, really, really dangerous as well. The depth that they've got within that squad is going to cause Middlesbrough a lot of problems, but I do think that it is the sort of game that could play into Middlesbrough's hands, because quite bluntly, it's going to be two attacks trying to outplay each other. It's not going to be attack versus defence. It's not going to be Middlesbrough against a side who are sitting low and defending deep and trying to frustrate Middlesbrough. It's going to be two sides who are going out to win this tie. And I think that is something that could be really beneficial for Middlesbrough, because when we are in those situations, historically, Middlesbrough have come out on top when it is two sort of more purist football teams going head to head, two attacking sides looking to show off their attacking quality and score goals. Middlesbrough typically come out on top. That's been a real plus of Kim Hellberg's time in charge. He's been someone who's really coached this team really, really well. He's really got the best out of Middlesbrough's attacking players from a build-up point of view, from a chance creation point of view. We've mentioned about the inability to put the ball in the back of the net previously, but that does seem to have changed a little bit recently. And in fact, I think the fact that Southampton will do the same, it does mean that there will be spaces on the pitch, there will be gaps, there will be the opportunity for Middlesbrough to get on the ball and do their thing. We will have opportunities to find the back of the net. We will, I think, find the back of the net, at least on a couple of occasions over the tie. I think Southampton will as well, but it is exactly that sort of tie which could play into our hands. If it is up to us to try and outscore Southampton, I would back us, to be honest. I think Middlesbrough do have what it takes to be able to come out on top against Southampton over these two games. I do think our defence, has been one of the best in the Championship so far this season, and I think if we can get that side of things right, if we can just try and nullify Southampton's attacking threat, I do think that we do have the attacking quality to go out there, cause some real problems, and possibly cause an upset against them by securing our spot at Wembley Stadium. As I said, Southampton are definitely, in my eyes, the favourites going into this match. I think for Middlesbrough, it's a tie where I think fans are quite realistic going into it. We know that it's going to be a difficult game against Southampton. We know that with the quality and the depth that they've got, that they're probably our favourites to progress and head off to Wembley. But that's the perfect tonic for Middlesbrough, to be able to be in that position as slight underdogs, but also with the attacking talents and the sort of style of game that I expect it to be able to go out there, show what we're capable of from an attacking point of view, create loads of chances, and ultimately, with all of our attacking players on form, it could be a really, really good moment for Middlesbrough to come up against Southampton, to see what we can do, to see if we can finish this season on a real high after what's been a really, really good campaign on the whole. They've got to remember that over the course of the campaign, looking back to last summer, no one expected us to be in this position. No one expected us to be securing a spot in the other playoff places. I think a lot of people, including myself, probably thought that Middlesbrough would be probably top half of the table, top 10, maybe one of the outside teams pushing towards the other playoff places. I don't think many people would have thought that we'd been going into it disappointed with a 5th place finish at the end of the season. So I think this is a real opportunity. 3 games at the end of the season. We just have to forget the disappointment of how close we came to getting into the top 2, and if we can put in some really good performances, the sort of performances that we know that we can under Kim Hellberg in these next 2 games, potentially 3 games, then we could be in with a really, really good opportunity of doing something very, very special this season. So I want to hear from you. I want to know whether you think Middlesbrough have what it takes to come out on top against Southampton over 2 legs. So drop into the comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit like. Please do hit subscribe as well. If you are listening on the podcast platforms, then rate and review as well. And hopefully we'll be celebrating a double-headed victory over Southampton in the coming days. Up the Boro!